One, this is the first chapter of NEET, class 11th biology, first unit, first chapter. So let's start with the first chapter, and don't worry about the format. This is exactly from NCERT, and in NCERT everything is all clubbed into one paragraph, and it's very difficult to follow. But this one is I have separated each and every line. There is everything, whatever is there in NCERT, everything you will find in this notes. So don't need to worry about that. It is much more palatable and much easier to understand and to follow than normal NCERT books. So don't worry about that. So let's start with the unit 1, diversity in the living world. So this is the introduction to the entire unit. The chapter has yet to start. So let's go through the introduction of the unit. So biology, first they have defined biology is the science of life form and living processes. Life form means the organisms and the processes involved with those organisms in order to keep them for their survival, and so that they can maintain their entire life. That is living process. The living world has an amazing diversity of living organisms. Here they talk about the diversity of organisms. Lot of things has to be covered in the diversity, which will be coming in the upcoming chapters and upcoming parts. So diversity is very important part of the entire class 11th NCERT that you will come to know. Then early man could easily tell the difference between inanimate matter like wind, sea, fire, and living organisms. So earlier people used to differentiate between what is non-living and what is living. They could easily differentiate among that. But early man could not understand the logic, reason, or the mechanism of these inanimate matters, the non-living matters, like how the wind used to blow, or how the sea works, or how the fire or thunder or rain, all these things function, how the sun rises or the moon rises, or how the solar eclipse or lunar eclipse happens. The earlier people did not understand the mechanism, so they used to deify them. That means they used to make them like gods, treat those phenomena like gods. So they used to worship them, or they used to fear them. So in even in the Indian religion, you will find that there are various gods related to wind, sea, fire. Even some animals and plants are also worshipped properly. Like even today, you will see cow is worshipped because it had huge domestic economic application in our earlier civilizations, earlier rural economy. So animals like cows were worshipped. Then plants like people, banyan, tulsi, neem, these are all worshipped. They had medicinal properties, they had benefits, but still, despite the medical benefits and all those other kind of benefits, some plants actually used to be worshipped, and they were associated with various gods, that some plant is favorite of some god, and that is how people used to worship, and they used to seek blessings from those trees. So anyways, the common feature of all these things was the sense of awe or fear that created in people's mind. So either people were scared about those things, or they were in absolute awe, like surprised to see those kind of things. That is why they deified them. Then proper description of living organisms, including humans, started much later in human history. So the proper scientific analysis of life is very recent event compared to the entire human history, which goes back to 10,000 years. It's only last 200 or 300 years that biology as a science is studied, life as a science is studied, and instead of just looking at the usefulness or deifying them, we are actually studying them like a proper academic subject. Then, societies that had an anthropocentric view of biology could only make limited progress in biological knowledge. So, this is what anthropocentric view means, that you think that human beings are the center of the universe, human beings are the most important life form in the entire universe, and everything rotates around us, and everything is there either to benefit us or to harm us. So we always used to think in terms of human beings. So suppose there is an animal, we will think that is that animal beneficial for us or harmful for us. That is the only thing we were concerned about. Or if there is a plant which is giving fruits, so if is that fruit beneficial for us, or is that food toxic, poisonous, and we should not consume it. So we only considered whether it is useful for us or harmful for us. So that is what you mean by anthropocentric view. So when you think from your own perspective, giving yourself all the importance, then you could make only limited progress. You will only be limited to either its usefulness, either it is useful or it is toxic. You don't want to know anything apart from that. You're just not interested. It was kind of necessity. It's not that they were ignorant or they were bad people. It was necessity of that time, because when you are in a survival mode today, science, modern science, and engineering and technology has made our life very easy and very convenient enough for us to study the nature. But earlier, just even 300 years ago, life was not that convenient, and human beings, majority human beings, were still living in a survival mode. For them, survival was the upmost, importance for them. Had they not survived today, we would not have been here in the first place. So because they were in the survival mode and they prioritize their survival, we are here. Okay. So earlier it was only survival, and that is what we were concerned about, and that is how we saw the world, whether it is beneficial for my survival or harmful for my survival. So this is what is known as anthropocentric view. Then systematic and detailed study of life form led to development of system of identification, nomenclature, and classification. Now when you study life, you see its feature, you see its how it grows, whether it is directly born from a mother or it is born from an egg, whether it has hair on its body or whether it has feather on its body, whether how is its digestive system. Every kind of thing we use to identify that organism, and that name that organism, and then put it in a classification system. Okay, we will come to know later on what this entire classification system is. Just like in a shopping mall, which is a big mall, and every department, every floor, every section, every aisle, every shelf has been segregated into various products. Like one product will only go in a particular shelf, it cannot go to any other kind of shelf. So that is the way we classify goods in a mall. Similarly, organisms are also classified. If it's a mammal, it belongs to one category. If it's a bird, it will be in some other category. If it's an insect, it will go into some other category. So just like we classify things in a mall, we categorize things in a shopping mall, we categorize living organisms in this entire hierarchy. Then the biggest outcome of such studies was the recognition that all living organisms share similarity with each other, both horizontally and vertically. So, when human beings studied a lot about these living organisms, they recognized that human beings are not the center of the universe. It's not we who are the superior being and rest all are there to serve us. That is not the case. We are just part. It's a very big mesh of which all life forms are part of, and we are just a small part of it, and everybody is an equally important part of this mesh. So we share similarity. For example, horizontally, that we share similarity with other groups. For example, human being is there, chimpanzee is here, gorilla is here, macaque is here. So these monkeys, they all belong to the monkey family, so they share these similarities, and we all have branched out from one common ancestor. Okay, so this relationship which we have with all the other monkeys and great apes, this is known as horizontal relationship. And there was one common ancestor from where all these monkeys branched out, including us human branched out. So this relationship is known as vertical relationship, which is across time. Many million years ago, we had a common ancestor from where all these types of monkeys branched out. So relation with all the present monkeys is horizontal, and relation with the earlier monkey, which was a common ancestor, is known as vertical relation. Okay, so across the timeline it will be vertical, and across different group in the present timeline is horizontal. I hope you understood this. It was a great revelation that all present day living organisms are related to each other, and also to all organisms that ever lived on earth. So this revolution had a great impact on human beings. Why? Because earlier we thought we are the supreme being and everybody is inferior, but now we know that every organism is related to each other. That humbled human beings, that made human beings think that we are not superior, we are just part of one big mesh. And after that realization, various kind of cultural movement for conservation of biodiversity started. Like, we stopped hunting. Earlier we thought that jungle is a savage place and all the organisms there are our enemies, so it's a good thing to go out and hunt a tiger, hunt a lion, hunt a deer. It's okay, they are wild and they are there to serve us or harm us, so anyways hunting them is a good thing. But now we know that they are part of the biodiversity, like human beings are part of the entire biodiversity. An elephant, a lion, a tiger, a deer, a wild boar, everybody is part of this diverse environment. So now we should not hunt them, in fact we should conserve them. This led to all sorts of cultural movement, including saving of forest to saving of animals. Now let's talk about a great scientist of our present generation, and his name is Ernest Mayr. 1904 to 2004, he lived for 100 years. Okay, Ernest Mayr. So he was a German. here is this picture which I have picked up directly from NCERT. So diagrams whichever are given in NCERT, every diagram you will find in my notes, so you don't need to worry. So the theory part is there. It is divided into point wise, but each and every line you will find of NCERT, and each and every diagram also you are going to find in this notes from NCERT. So he was a Harvard University evolutionary biologist. He is also known as the Darwin of 20th century. He is considered one of the 100 greatest scientists of all time. Then he joined Harvard in 1953 and he retired in 1975 with the title of Alexander Agassiz Professor of Zoology Emeritus. So he had a career of 80 years. He studied birds. The study of bird is known as ornithology. He worked in classification of organism, which is known as taxonomy. He also studied geographical distribution of animals, which is known as zoogeography. He studied evolution, systematics, history, and philosophy of biology. He single-handedly made the origin of species diversity the central question of evolutionary biology. He pioneered, introduced the currently accepted definition of biological species. Like, what do we mean by biological species? Basically, those part of the population who can interbreed, right? They are no, and produce fertile offsprings. They are biological species. We'll learn about the definition and the entire theory of species in the later part in this chapter itself. But this is what it is, that they can interbreed and produce fertile offsprings. Now he got triple crown of biology. He got three prizes which are very important in the field of biology. He got Balzan prize, he got International Prize for Biology, and he got Crawford prize 1983, 1994, 1999, and he died at the age of 100 in 2004. So this was the introduction of this unit, and now we will start the chapter 1, which is the living world.